The rough and tumble of rugby was popular in colonial times, and none more so than on the South Island's rugged west coast. As the game as we know it started to take hold, a West Coast rugby union based in Greymouth was established in 1890. The logistics of playing club rugby in an area where teams were spread out over hundreds of kilometres led to a decision by the clubs in the Buller district to split from West Coast in 1894. Prior to New Zealand Rugby's restructuring of the National Provincial Championship in 2005, West Coast were permanent fixtures at the bottom of the NBC 3rd Division. But since the inception of the Heartland Championship, they have featured in a number of semi-finals and finals in both the Meads and Lahore Cups, finally achieving a breakthrough win in the Lahore Cup final over Poverty Bay in 2023. Like so many small rural-based rugby unions, West Coast rugby representatives have often been forced to move away in a bid to gain higher honours. All Black number 87, John or Jack O'Brien, was born in Greymouth. He played his early rugby for the West Coast club Oriental before moving to Wellington in 1898. Bernard Francis Smythe, known as Frank, played 2 games for the West Coast while representing the Star Rugby Football Club in Greymouth, moving to Canterbury before enlisting for service in the First World War. On his return, he gained All Black selection aged 31 in 1922. Physical prop Peter Eastgate played for the West Coast in 1947 and 48, before his 5-year stint representing Canterbury. In 1952, he was first selected for New Zealand, playing 17 matches, including 3 tests. A midfield back, Ian McRae played 10 games for the West Coast in 1961, then for Bay of Plenty in 1962 and Hawke's Bay from 1963 to 1973. He also gained his first All Black cap, appearing 45 times, 3 as captain, and had a long career in coaching and rugby administration following his retirement from playing, for which he received an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit in 2012. The West Coast Rugby Football Union has produced 8 All Blacks, first selected while playing for clubs within that union. Highly regarded before the turn of the 20th century as a tough, aggressive halfback, Harry Butland had a remarkable career, though one which was not altogether unusual in those years. For Butland had been a national representative for 2 seasons before he managed to play any matches for his provincial union, West Coast. That, of course, was due in large measure to the fact that the program of many unions in those years was sparse. Like his fellow West Coaster Harry Butland, Baker John Corbett was an All Black before he had played first-class rugby for his provincial union. His first major game came in 1904 in a combined Canterbury West Coast and South Canterbury side, which lost 5-3 to the touring Great Britain side. From there it was into the South team to play in the Inter-Island match, and then on to the All Blacks in 1905 for the tour of Australia and then Great Britain. He finally played for the West Coast in 1906 and 07 before moving to Westport and representing Buller. Samuel Bligh was born at Blacks Point, a small coal mining settlement near Reefton. Bligh entered representative football from the Westport Club in 1907 for Buller against Marlborough. In 1909 he joined the Greymouth Club and represented West Coast, also gaining a place in the South Island team for the 1909 Inter-Island fixture. In 1910, playing for the Black Ball Club, he won a place in the New Zealand side to tour Australia. Sam Bligh's selection was well publicised in Greymouth newspapers, yet for over 100 years, rugby records had credited Bligh as being affiliated to the Buller Union at the time of selection, the era only discovered in 2013. Greymouth-born lock Harry Atkinson was selected for the All Blacks in 1913, playing 10 matches including one international. Jack Steele, a track sprinter immediately after World War I, made an instant impression when he entered first-class rugby with West Coast in 1919. First selected for New Zealand in 1920, he scored 35 tries in his 38 appearances for the All Blacks, but only 3 tries in Test rugby. Frank Freitas was a loose forward out of the Excelsior club in Hokitika. He played 4 times for the All Blacks in 1928, but no Test matches. 6 years later, Freitas' clubmate Ron King debuted for the All Blacks against New South Wales in 1934. Initially, King had been a wing 3/4 for West Coast, but switched to the forwards in 1932 and his career took off. King played 42 times for New Zealand between 1934 and 1938. Scottish-born Mike Gilbert settled in Westport as a young boy and aged 19 first represented Buller in provincial rugby union. In 1932, as a post office employee, he was transferred to Greymouth, where he represented West Coast from 1932. After playing All Black trials in 1934 and 1935, he was the only fullback selected for the All Blacks tour of Great Britain in 1935-36. Gilbert played 27 times for New Zealand, including a total of 4 Test matches.